The force of war has ever shaped Norn 1. Peasants become soldiers, men become monsters, children become heroes, and heroes become legends. Norn 1. Once there were nature-dwelling elves. They only ever lived, frolicked, and played in the deep woods. Their bodies were quite accustomed to the trees. They could speak with the elements of nature. They could make the trees move and cause great mushrooms to grow from the earth. Theirs was the power to ask the spirits that watched over the wood for guidance and peace. The Knights faction implored these wild folk for aid on one fateful day. The factions had become strong, but they were not strong enough. They tried to help their areas, but establishing a new government in a post-apocalypse is harder than it may seem. The Knights faction, in its quest to slay the remaining dragons of the Fey Forest, and in an attempt to secure more supplies in the beautiful and bountiful region, went to the elves. When a negotiation failed, a force of knights, mainly human, staged a takeover, violently taking from the elven folk of the forest villages. The elves were sad to lose so much land to the war effort of the humans. Some elves even joined with the modernizing society of humans, and others stayed and tried to fight back against the growing human population and demand for more land. Elven oppression became an issue to a few people, who now fought for fairy rights. A Lich Queen rose from the fallen elven lands and vowed revenge. She band together the downtrodden races of orcs and goblins. Using intense gene meddling and tampering, the queen and her coven of witches mutated many orcs into a new breed of fighting beasts called ogres. Alongside this, the trolls were created. Trolls were an artificial life form designed for battle, possessing great strength, but having very little brain. War. Another war. The Great Fairy War. This is the legend, told with this time of war as the setting. A nameless human boy tries to become a hero. Behold.
Hey kid, wanna be a hero? Drink this potion.
Sure. Well, nothing happened. I guess I'll join the Knights faction then.
Thank you for choosing the Norn 1 Knights faction. You have already proven yourself smarter than the average brick. Now, basic training begins now. Any questions, recruits? None? I thought so. Take one bag, one mask, and one weapon. If you do not have a chubby thing will be assigned to you. Gather your gear and march to the first outpost at the edge of the forest. Any questions? None? Good. Dismissed.
Hey, I'm Meatz.
Sorry, you're what?
Yeah, I'm pretty meaty.
The pair of recruits set off on their journey. They meet a traveling cabbage sales elf. Meatz gets hungry, and when Meatz is hungry, Meatz eats. Having no way to repay the damages, the nameless human gives all he can to the sales elf, and he promises to pay the elf back in full. Night begins its inevitable reign of blackness. Rain starts. They cower beneath the great fungi of the blue mushroom plains. As the storm passes, our heroes happen upon the same merchant from before, only now he is dead, all valuables stripped from him, left to rot just off the road. Battle and all its horror is heard. The knights are fighting a rank of ogres. The boy steps forth. Defeat is swift. Those that are not slain are taken to the rock and volcanic dust, to the mines of despair and anguish, to the Lich Queen. Meatz the chubby and his unnamed human companion brought before the evil necromancer queen of the war fairies. Their fate is that of the other captives in this time of war. They are sent into the slave pits to work and to die. Much punishment does the human take, not because he is unwilling to work, but because he insists to take the punishment of the other workers. An eternity passes, the sun is lost, the knights are nowhere to be seen. The war could be over. This may be the life of all men. The punishments break the hero, and in a final cry to the gods and all that is great in the realm of wonder, he binds his soul and Meatz. They became one at the cost of their individuality. They become a monster. All that stands in its path are slain. It retreats to the forest and hides. It seethes, it burns, and with the million wounds of the ones who died before it. Now Meatz is a guardian of the darkest regions of the fairy forest. This is said, though none may prove it. The war ended, life moved on, but the phantoms left behind, the wounds, the choices, they remain, and they scream.